Hello everybody, this is Lex Kartinik and you're on my YouTube channel. Right now I'm walking, and during my walking trip I want to share with you some thoughts about kind of new profession that right now hyped and pushed in the media, new profession in IT, in tech, named context engineer. Who is it? What is it? What about is it? And before I tell you, before I say my things, we need to move back and discuss a little bit about previous one hyped profession named prompt engineer. What is prompt engineer? Let's start from prompt. What is prompt? Prompt, just a simple message that we send to a neural network. Let's say that we send to LLMs, GPT, and other architecture of models, ChatGPT. Every message that you send to the model named prompt. I don't know why. As for me, message pretty well word for it, but for those, but we named it prompt. So, prompt engineer, as you understand, it is a person. It can be even not an engineer who can create effective prompts, effective messages that we send to models, and that's it. Prompt engineering as a sphere, it is just a common sense. You need to understand how to write good quality messages to the LLMs for getting better results. If you know this, if you understand how to do it, you will be good quality prompt engineer. Some of people start saying that, oh, prompt engineer, it is not an obvious person who can write good quality messages, but it is like engineer with engineering skills. But from my perspective, every engineer with common sense will be good prompt engineer. Of course, we can debate here, because nowadays prompt engineers also can create prompt dynamically, and for those you need to know programming language, so you need to be a programmer at least, for insert some variables inside your prompt, for creating these prompts really dynamic, not just a static messages. But in the end, every prompt engineer, it is just regular programmer, regular developer with understanding how to create prompts in better way to get better results, better answers from the LLMs. There are a lot of techniques, but they are pretty obvious. For example, the main technique says that you need to insert as much context inside your prompt as you can. So if model know more information about your task, you will get better result. Somebody can say that there are a lot of different techniques: one-shot prompting, two-shot prompting, I don't know, 100 bucks rule. But all of these rules, all of these techniques, only about how to construct your message more clear and insert inside your message, inside your prompt, more context about your task. That's it about prompt engineering. Nothing special. You don't need special knowledges, you don't need study at university several years to be good quality prompt engineer. Just common sense and understanding what context you need to set inside your prompt. And right now in media, on the internet, start hyping new name of this profession, and it is context engineer. So prompt engineer sounds not really serious, maybe, I don't know. And people who was prompt engineers start named themselves as a context engineers. It sounds really much more strong and much more clever, maybe they believe in it. But in the end, prompt engineer and context engineer, it is pretty the same things. From my perspective, I have a lot of experience in development, more than 15 years. I'm studying other developers how to work with AI to boost the productivity, so I know pretty much information to understand really what really difference between prompt engineer and context engineer. Good quality context engineer, it is just regular engineer with also common sense engineer who understand how to construct these prompts in more effective ways. But this engineer also should understand pretty good the main sphere of the business in which he or she works. Because if you have these knowledges of the main sphere of your application, of your program, you will be good in understanding context of this business. And context engineer is all about be able set inside the prompt right context. So context engineer, just a regular prompt engineer with common sense, that also has a lot of good quality knowledges about domain of application and about context of this domain. But that's not it, because from one side you need to understand context of domain. From other side you also need to understand how models works under the hood, because context and prompts and working with LLMs pretty binded with architecture of models that we are using in our life. Inside the models we have context size. What is it? What is the context size? I believe that many of you, my viewers, my subscribers, are already pretty familiar with this conception context size. But if not, I'll tell you. Context size, it is amount of information that model capable work well with. So each model, each LLM and GPT generate each large language models, each generative pre-trained transformer as a part of LLM architecture, all of these models has a limited context size. It means that if your dialogue with LLM reach this context size, get out of this context size, model will start dramatically hallucinate. And there are one important thing. Context size, it is a sum of your prompts that you send to LLMs and also responses from LLMs. From the scratch, each LLM stateless. So there are no any memory mechanism, there are no any databases. So LLMs operating with all of the prompts that you send inside dialog and all of the answers. And sum of these prompts and responses from model equals context, current context size. And if current context size get reach the context size of model start hallucinating. Model start forgetting information that get out of the context size. It is important to know if you want name yourself context engineer. Which context sizes right now we have in our models? It is not pretty big amount of context. For example, for smallest one models we have approximately 8,000 tokens. For biggest closed models like Gemini, we can have 2 million context size. 2 million tokens. context size measured by tokens. So from 8,000 to 2 million. It can depends on which model we are using. For example, I know open source models that have 10 million context size. But what important here, with LLMs architecture, and by the way, this is the most popular architecture right now. We used LLMs, large language models, almost for all models that work with tokens. OpenAI used LLMs, Anthropic used LLMs, Gemini, X, Meta, DeepSeek, all of the companies build their models on the pretty the same architecture. And this architecture has a base limitation. We cannot create the model with unlimited context size. Why? Because if we want more context size, we need to run this model on much more greater servers. More context size need more computing power. And this dependency, not linear, this dependency almost exponential. It is more than square, yeah, dependencies. For example, if you need twice more context size, your model will consume twice in square, even more computing power. And this is why we cannot have unlimited context size. So, knowing the context size of your model, it is really important knowledge for context engineer. You can get all of the information about your current model from the model cards. Companies who provides models, they publish these cards, and you can know the context size and other parameters of your model. It is not a problem. But as you can see, for now, context engineer should be at least engineer. For second, it should be with common sense and should understand how to construct prompts in more effective ways. And also, this engineer should understand what is context size, what is tokens. So, need to understand how model works under the hood. And I'm not talking to you about machine learning, deep learning, and other skills that should know people who create these models or who create pipelines with these models. You need just to understand conception of context size, and that's it. Inside this conception, you also need to understand what is token, because context size measured by tokens. If explain simple, tokens, not just the symbols. When we send the message to model, we send just a text, symbols. We can send this text in different alphabets. We can send Latin alphabets, we can send Cyrillic alphabets, and other existing alphabets. I don't know which one you're using. But what's important here, all of those symbols should be tokenized. All of those symbols should be converted to tokens. And for different alphabets, tokenizers, those programs which translate symbols to tokens, works differently. For example, for Latin alphabets, for English, for German, other alphabets that use Latin symbols, one token can be one word, or 1.5 word, or half of pretty long word. It is not one symbol. For Cyrillic alphabets, it less. It can be 2 symbols, 3 symbols, 1 symbol. So from this perspective, you as context engineer should understand that it's matter which language you use while working with LLM. Because if you are using language based on Latin alphabet, you can set more context only because of tokenization, only because your symbols converting to tokens, and vice versa when model responds to you. Pretty simple things, but no, just pretty simple things, yeah. So to be good quality context engineer, you should be at least engineer with common sense, with understanding those simple prompt engineering techniques, how to create prompts in more effective ways. And also you need to little bit better understand how models works under the hood. What is context size and what is token and what is our get out of context size. And that's it. So from this perspective, almost every engineer can be really good context engineer just after getting this small amount of information. And really, you can get this information by several days. You can read articles, you can go on the internet, find tokenizators, see how they works, and that's it. So now you should understand that it is just a hype. Context engineer, it is just a hype. I believe that in the future, all of the engineers will like context engineers. It will be our common knowledge. And if you want to be particular, if you want to be separated context engineer, don't do it. This is just a hype. This is just a hype for name for name things, pretty simple things by difficult words. That's it from my side. By the way, I start working on my own private English language community for developers who want to boost their by AI, who want to work with AI and stay more effective. I do this community on School platform. Link will be in the description below. Check this link, stay there, part of the community. I'm working on this community 1 week, but I believe that in nearest future there will be a lot of classrooms, a lot of lessons with those basic informations that every developer need to know to be productive in this era of AI. So waiting you in the community, and I believe see you in the next video. I believe I'll be posted video more frequently. And also please leave the comments if you want to hear something from me, if you want to hear my thoughts about AI, about techniques, about, I don't know, whatever related to development and AI. I can answer you in such a format. Please, you're welcome to the comments. I'm Lex Kartynik. See you in the next video. Bye.